Guess what's out, folks? I'm sure you'll be really happy about this. iOS 13.5, now with contact tracing. Let's check this out. So let me show this to you. Here we go. Here's Forbes.com here. Apple releases iOS 13.5 must-have release with possible life-saving upgrades. David. What are we going to do with you, David? Speeds up access to the passcode field on devices with Face ID when you are wearing a face mask. that just by itself is just, you wear a face mask. Oh, you can get into your password quicker. You can get into your phone quicker. Face ID. Face ID. Who uses the Face ID? They're tracking your face right there. Okay, and then introduces the Exposure Notification API to support COVID-19 contact tracing apps from public health authorities. So basically, there's some things about it here. It talks about a variety of different things, which could also save lives. So let's actually talk a bit about this. And let me show you this other website too. Apple releases iOS 13.5. This is on 9 to 5 Mac. API to an essay. So there's a video here, you can check it out. Sample Public Health Authority app onboarding. There's various images here about how to enable the notifications, about how to enable this information. Again, they're making it automatically off by default is what they say, and they pretty much say you have to opt into it, you have to have a Public Health Authority app, which apparently there isn't any yet, or they're coming out with it very soon. And it's a third-party app. Exposure notifications. So, first of all, anyone who believes that this is something that's off by default, you need a reality check, because this is there. First of all, any sort of Apple device, Android device, it's always tracking you. It's always monitoring you, no matter where you go, what you're doing. This is an enhancement of that pretty much allows devices nearby to also ping your location and connect with all of each other. That's essentially how this contact tracing is going to work. Apparently they say it's via Bluetooth. And if, for example, I bring my phone close to your phone within 6 feet, my phone would be sending off notifications to your phone would be sending off notifications to my phone. That pretty much says there's a unique identifier for each phone. So my unique identifier will be sent to yours will be sent to mine, and it will constantly be doing that. And let's say at some other point I have this virus, okay? And I'm tested positive for it, and I put that information in there, or, it just assumes it, or just, public health authority apps, it all goes in there. Then every single phone that I've been close to that has pinged the other phones will essentially receive a notification that says you've been exposed, or whatever it says. It doesn't tell you who, it doesn't tell you, it may not even tell you when, but it says that you've been exposed and what you should do. Oh, that sounds wonderful, doesn't it? That sounds absolutely amazing, right? In one sense, it sounds, that could be great, but how could it be abused? Because this technology is not going to be going away. This is a new permanent feature that's going to be added, and if people keep using it, it's going to end up being worse and worse. And this is why, also, I pretty much turn my phone into airplane mode. I'm not upgrading. Not only that, I have an older phone, so I don't think it would even support. It doesn't even support Face ID. So I don't know how much it's going to actually support this, because when I've looked at the update on my phone, it doesn't even list anything about that contact tracing at all. But it doesn't mean that they're not already doing it. But whenever I go somewhere, I put it on airplane mode, and I'm ideally would want to look into a phone that cannot be tracked as easily as this one, and just have an iPhone, for example, just to play some games on that I play. But other than that, I'm probably going to just go with something else, because I refuse to have this sort of thing be something that's part of my life at this point, because I'm making a lot of changes with what I'm doing in order to be more private with the information that I'm putting out there. So, again, this is all a form of a tracking tool. That is simply all that it is. When you consider that the virus itself right now, we're approaching summer here. It can't survive, okay? It's not possible for this thing to survive if you go outside. If you stay inside, then yes, it's going to continue to thrive, which is what people, are told to do. Stay inside, saves lives. There certainly isn't saving your life staying inside. But the thing is, everything is decreasing. Places are opening back up. This is not a threat any more than it was, prior, when it was just a flu. Okay? So to have this incorporated for something that is just a flu, think about that for a moment. Just think about that in your mind as you process that, because this is not about a virus. This is about tracking your every movement, tracking what you're doing, the people you're close to, and tracking them, tracking your contacts, tracking every single person that exists. Okay? And again, you can say that I'm a conspiracy theorist. I know some people have said that. Those people, I think, are at this point gone from this channel, which I'm glad. You shouldn't be here if you think that I'm putting out conspiracy theories. But I had mentioned this some time ago. I did. And it's all becoming a reality. So how can you say I'm a conspiracy theorist? So it doesn't make any sense. Conspiracy theorist is just a term to delegitimize the truth of what's happening. We know this is happening. We know these companies are tracking. Apple just released this. Android is soon to follow suit. Very soon, I'd imagine. And they will be communicating with each other. Imagine that. Apple and Google communicating. Two very large companies here. Communicating with each other. The phones. That is a very, 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 very big problem here. So, as I said, if people opt out of this, if people don't, fall for this nonsense and just give up their rights so easily, then I think things can certainly change for the better. But you gotta remember, people are so willing to give up their rights so easily because they have fear implanted in their mind based on the news media that they watch. You watch the news media, it's like, oh my gosh, look at these people who are dying. Let alone the fact that if you look at those numbers, it's just the flu. The same amount of people are dying of that. When you actually look at the actual real numbers here. It's nothing out of the ordinary, people. It really isn't. And the people who are so fearful and terrified and are staying in their basement, such as Joe Biden staying in his basement. Who's heard that? Who's heard that? Joe Biden sitting in his basement. Anyway, so yeah, it's just... It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. Hopefully you are wondering. Hopefully people are questioning. I think a lot of people on this channel who are watching this, they are questioning. They are thinking. They are thinking outside the box. They are becoming aware. And hopefully with my videos that I've made here the past few months, even just talking about this, that you've been able to have a more open mind as well. That you're able to see things for what they actually are. I had been talking about this for months now, and I know initially a lot of people were very against what I was saying. But maybe this has sunk in a little bit and made you realize this is not about some virus. This is about giving up your rights willingly to promote the health of the rest of the population. You give up your rights to be tracked and surveilled. You give up your health freedoms to get forcefully vaccinated. You give up everything, at least in this country, everything that your ancestors fought for you to be free. And you just give them up, just like that, snap of a finger, you're just done. It's like, I don't really care. I'm going to give them up so easily. I don't. I am very much fighting against this because I don't believe in this. I don't participate in this. And I'm not doing this. And the more people who can say no, I've said no. If you say no, if we all say no, guess what? This stuff isn't going to work. The only way, first of all, the only way this contact tracing type of thing would work is if it was months ago. If this thing was introduced back in like January and February. That would be the only way this sort of thing would be able to help and stop. At this point, everyone has it. Everyone's been exposed to it and been in contact with it. I mean, tell me, what benefit does this have for, let's say me, for example. Let's say I had it back, in March and April when I was having some of those health issues. I had apparently come in contact with someone. What if I enable this because I'm so afraid? Despite the fact that I've already got it, I already have immunity to it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm around someone who has it. I got to quarantine for 2 weeks. All right, I did that. I'm fine. Oh my gosh, I'm around it again. I mean, come on now. if you don't already, if every single one of you, if you haven't been exposed to it already, it's unlikely that that you haven't been exposed to it. It really is. I mean, I'm pretty sure most people have been exposed to it, which is not a bad thing, mind you. It's not a bad thing to be exposed because then you build immunity to it. It's bad if you don't get exposed to it, because then that second wave, as they mentioned later this year, would have come up. Because if the second wave is only going to happen in two situations, not enough people have gotten it to build herd immunity, natural herd immunity. Or option number two, it's like the flu where it mutates every year, it's different every year, so the vaccine is going to not be useful for this one that's going around now because it'll be different in the fall. Who knows? But whatever the case is, whatever is going to happen, there's nothing to fear here. So when people have this fear, you take that deep breath and let it go, let it out, let that fear out, because fear is what's driving people to give up their rights so easily. The only fear I ever had was very early in the beginning when you were just learning about it. You know, I was concerned about various things. But then I started to learn more about it. I'm like, this isn't right here. This is not making much sense. So pretty much for maybe a week, I had a little bit of a fear. That was it. And then afterwards, I was like, there's nothing to fear here. There's nothing to fear. And at this point, I think a vast majority of people are starting to realize there is nothing to fear here. You know, even if it's just 51%, that is the majority. But we're slowly winning this battle. We really are. And even though they keep trying to put all this information out, and they keep trying to track people and do all this sort of stuff, more and more people are saying no. I'm saying no. I'm standing up. I know plenty of you are saying no to this garbage. The more people who say no, the less opportunity it will have to actually succeed, because this isn't going to happen. I don't want to allow it to happen. I know you won't allow it to happen. No one's going to allow this to happen in the world that I live in. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So we'll just have to wait and see what proceeds from here. This pretty much thing is going to be useless. I would say it pretty much is going to be largely useless, especially when very, very few people are going to even use it. But even if we look at like Australia, for example, I'd heard this some time ago. They are pretty much making you feel guilty if you don't download their tracking app, their tracing app. And I believe, certain countries are certainly more accepting or more against it. I think here in the United States, more people are against this sort of stuff. Whereas in Australia, it's more do what the government says type of mentality. Gotta listen to the government. The government is way, way, way more strict there as opposed to here in the United States. So we got to remember, despite where you live, globally, there is a huge change that is happening. And this change, depending on what people choose, mind you, this is a choice that you can make. You can choose to succumb to fear, or you can choose to stand up and go against that. You have a choice. There is no middle ground here, because the middle ground, there is none. There is no middle ground. You either choose, relinquish your ability and your rights here, or you fight for your rights, essentially. Those are the two grounds that we have here. So depending on which way people choose, things will change in the world over the coming months. We will have to say, I've talked about this. I'll continue to make updates about this change that is happening. But know that every single thought and idea and decision that you make is contributing to this larger change of human population and where the world is going to be. Just remember that. Every single little change. Because I said no to this is a positive change for what I want to see in the future. But there's people who are fearful and they think this is a good idea and they are fine with this, which goes the other way. So the more people who can be on Team L, not just Team L, mind you, I'm as I said, I think I am the majority voice here. Just people don't want to speak up. People are scared to speak up. Let go of that fear. There's nothing to fear here. They're tracking you. They're doing all this sort of stuff. Turn it off. Get a different phone. Do something else so you don't have to be tracked. You have every right and you have every ability to stop being tracked. So take that step today. Okay? That was it. That was all I wanted to say today. You all take care. I'll catch you later. And, yep, my hair just looks so good today when I was just looking at it. I don't know why. I guess because I just washed it yesterday. But anyway, you take care. I'll catch you later. Bye.